Welcome to a new Daily Top Askreddit video. Today's topic.
Khanna just becamee the first member of Congress to call on Chuck Schumer to step aside after yesterday. What do you think Senator Schumer and the Democrats should do? Schumer absolutely does need to step aside. He's just become a totally ineffective leader. It's time for some new, younger blood to lead the party. He's an effective leader in ensuring the status quo remains. That is it. The whole Dem leadership should be tarred and feathered by their constituents. Edit, my point was that he is maintaining his status quo. His own power. He's not though. He isn't maintaining the status quo. America is actively devolving into chaos. 100% Khanna is right. Khanna is a really smart guy. Been following him for a while since he introduced his Drain the Swamp Act banning White House officials from becoming lobbyists. However, he may just be another opportunist. When we were just about to subpoena Elon Musk, he didn't show up to vote. He claims he was never informed about any of it, while the leaders organizing the subpoena claimed he knew well in advance. Someone is lying, and I don't think that ever got resolved. Regardless of who lied, it just signifies one thing: our politicians are not only playing their own little political games while in office, they are gaming and abusing the system. It makes it so easy for them to perform political theater, and in the end, the public loses every time. Time for real changes. He's shown a lot of competency around managing his social media presence. I like his messaging, but once you think about the steps required to make the changes he suggests, it's not hard to believe that these actions are largely performative at times. I'm sure he knows that though. AOC better primary his ass. We need a complete overhaul of leadership. Would donate. Schumer is a delusional hack and needs to retire completely. New York has plenty of capable political talent. Chuck Schumer is working overtime trying to discredit Graham Plattner. Dude should be primaried and retired. He's the enemy of change. Same with Hakeem Jeffries. Imagine going to battle against MAGA, only to have clowns undermining you the entire time. That's life with Chuck and Hakeem. I want guys like Plattner who can speak in simple, clear language and who have actual beliefs. Obama mentioned something similar. He thinks all our politicians are lacking integrity, and he's right. We need people who we can trust, since the politicians have been breaking that trust more and more, especially when there's money involved. Proof: Professors Martin Gilens, Princeton University, and Benjamin I. Page, Northwestern University, looked at more than 20 years' worth of data to answer a simple question: does the government represent the people? Their study took data from nearly 2,000 public opinion surveys and compared it to the policies that ended up becoming law. In other words, they compared what the public wanted to what the government actually did. What they found was extremely unsettling. The opinions of 90% of Americans have essentially no impact at all. The study found that policy outcomes were strongly correlated with the preferences of economic elites and organized interest groups, while the opinions of the majority of the public had a, statistically non-significant impact. Chuck Schumer and all the old-school establishment Dems should publicly acknowledge their utter failure to prevent, and then effectively oppose, a rapid descent into full-blown authoritarianism. They should understand that their tactics have failed and that their approach is outdated and ineffective, and then hand the reins of power to the people in their party who are willing to fight tooth and nail to protect democracy and the rule of law in the US. Will they? No, but they fucking should. The old-school establishment Dems are what the GOP were 20 years ago. Long overdue they step down. The old-school establishment Dems are what the old-school establishment Dems were 20 years ago, as in these are the exact same fucking people. These vampires have been clinging to leadership forever. So many people posting Lucy with the football or "we've tried nothing" memes, not understanding it isn't the Democratic leadership in these memes, it's us. We are the dumbasses who haven't been primarying these useless fucks for our entire fucking lives. They should hold up little signs again. Down with this sort of thing. Careful now. That was so fucking embarrassing. To think that grown adults came up with the idea and executed it thinking they were so clever. Social media is lame too. Blah blah, shame this, blah blah, resign that. People back in the day would have smashed the dude's windows and car to show him he's shit. Why wait for a chance to primary corrupt politicians when you can put fear into the very laws they swore to protect? Step down, he needs to go. Hakeem should be put on notice. Change with us. Jeffries is beyond notice. The Democratic Party will be purged, or die as it is. The older ones need to get purged. There are plenty of good Democratic Congress people, but the old rich people portion of the party can't seem to comprehend the political reality they live in. I will always vote against fascism, but I want to vote for something too. As a whole, everyone who is pro-human rights and pro-having a normal standard of living needs to get heavily involved in the Democratic Party. We need to take it over, either by voting in the primaries, or if you have any media skills, running for office. Even, especially, at the local level. When the general comes up, we must vote against fascism. But we need to engage as voters and citizens before we even get there if we want them to be effective. Jeffries was installed to be Pelosi 2.0 while also being a convenient token. He's just as worthless. How he treated Mamdani made that especially clear. Are you kidding? Pelosi knew her shit. She knew how to count votes and she could wrangle those Democrats into pretzels. She had a lot of power and finesse and used every bit of her political capital. Jeffries is a bitter disappointment. He is so reserved that he seems totally removed from reality and ignorant of the urgency of these times. What a waste of an important position where real inroads could be made. Schumer is such a tool. He was weak in every standoff. I don't know how he keeps getting the votes. His record sucks. If only there were a dollar impulse explanation. Money is the answer to that. This is all theater. If you notice, every single Dem to break ranks is not up for election in 2026. This group was explicitly chosen by the party as the ones to cross the aisle. It didn't happen by accident. Schumer did exactly as the party wanted here, and the party didn't want the government shut down any longer. What was it all for then? Same reason the line crossers are all not up for election. Votes. Dem voters and Dem politicians are simply not well aligned. So the holdout rallied the base in the election. Now the election is over, so they happily reopen government. The field goal, obviously. Lucy said she was going to hold the ball. It'll be fine. They should nominate someone who isn't such a little bitch. Or maybe they nominate the biggest bitch of them all. I don't think Trump can be minority leader while also president. The problem with a corporate lackey is they take their orders from donors, not constituents. Schumer needs to step aside from leadership. The 8 offenders need to lose all committee assignments. They'll do nothing because this is what Dem leadership wanted. All the outrage from other Dems is just theatrics, except Sanders. Yep, I realized long ago that us politics is pro wrestling. It's all faces and heels for the crowd and cameras, but when the doors are closed they probably all have drinks together and talk about how much their portfolios are worth. Dude, this nails it. And maybe AOC. Add Wyden and Merkley to that list. Neither of them has been buddy-buddy with the GOP at all and both regularly call out the BS. Schumer is America's Neville Chamberlain. He needs to resign as leader so someone competent can combat the Republican agenda. Oh, they are not stepping aside. They are stepping over each other, stepping on each other, stepping into microphones, and stepping into 17 more scandals. At this point the only thing they should step into is therapy. Harry Reid to Chuck Schumer, that's a pretty big downgrade. Reid wasn't even all that good, which shows what a pile of garbage Schumer is. Reid was an excellent, shrewd political operative, someone who was actually willing to do what it takes to deliver. Khanna is a member of the House, so him calling for a change of leadership in the Senate is fairly meaningless. Brother, if normies calling senators have influence, you better believe a congressman doing the same publicly also does. Does it have any Dem organizational power behind it? No. But neither does our calls. It's all messaging until it isn't. You just gotta spell it out for them. I have a feeling they're not actually that sharp, they just have some kind of playbook that's outdated AF. And your call will matter a bit. I think they still use that old school rule of thumb where one person calling represents something like hundreds being pissed. It's one of the few times where a normie gets leverage, small as it is. There is no leverage. Khanna is to the left of Schumer and has been since he was elected. This position is not new, nor is it a watershed. Schumer will likely not run for re-election in 2028. If he does run, he will probably lose the Democratic primary to AOC or someone else to his left. That is the way change happens. Members of the House barking at senators, historically speaking, does not make change. Schumer and Durbin need to go. Newsom should call on him step down. Durbin's already retiring. New leader or new party. That's really all we can do. By capitulating, they've completely fucked us, the people they supposedly represent. Just another tactic for us to fight each other instead of aiming our energy at the people pissing all over us and calling it rain. The ACA credits missed the deadline for renewal already. The shutdown going on further wasn't going to change that. Blame the people taking them away instead of the people trying imperfectly to fight for them. All of the old guard Dems need to go, especially Schumer. There's no future for the party until that happens. Schumer should step aside, but he won't. Those with political power will cling to power, even if it damages their own party. The system sucks because the only real accountability are primary elections spread out by years. We need a system in which voters can recall representatives and replace them when they don't live up to expectations. I think this was all planned. None of the members that voted with Republicans are up for re-election next year, so they're hoping everyone will forget by the time they are. They were chosen to be the ones to betray us. What most 76-year-olds do: retire. He voted no on ending the shutdown after negotiating its ending behind closed doors. Whatever you think of the shutdown and which party was at fault, I think we can all agree that Schumer's actions were disgraceful and total cowardice. He talked tough, but in the end, he was totally spineless. He rolled over to Republicans and thought he could keep his hands clean by voting no. And what did Schumer get in return? A promise that the Senate would vote on extending the subsidies, which, assuming the promise is kept, he knows won't pass. Even if it did, Mike Johnson isn't going to take it up in the House. So basically, Schumer sold out the American public just so Senate Democrats have material for campaign ads. This is why Democrats keep losing. People know they're fighting for themselves just as much as Republicans, and certainly not fighting for you. Democrats should be demanding he step down. And he should listen. He's been inadequate for years.